Mr. President, Ministers of Foreign Affairs, distinguished heads of delegations, representatives of permanent and observer states of the OAS, invited guests. Permit me to express my profound gratitude to the government and the people of Mexico for the very warm welcome to your beautiful country and the world-renowned historic city and famous shores of Cancun. Mr. President, the selected theme for this year's regular session of the OAS General Assembly signals a clarion call to this body to strengthen dialogue, create strategies, and implement solutions for prosperity. These actions must extend beyond lip service if we are to shape this institution into a relevant one that facilitates economic growth and prosperity for the hemisphere. Our theme forces us to confront the question of how we as sovereign nations can create and maintain sustainable economies in light of the pressures we face both internally and externally. I was very pleased that a number of our distinguished colleagues, notably St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and Guyana, focused in their presentations on the determinants of prosperity. That to me is very important because there must be a focus on goals and objectives, because in the absence of these goals and objectives, there's absolutely no way in which we can measure whether or not we are actually progressing towards prosperity or falling behind. For St. Kitts and Nevis, any conversation linked to prosperity must include development, and in particular sustainable development. It must also embrace capacity building, and through the OAS development pillar in particular, scholarship opportunities. That dialogue in which we are collectively engaged at this assembly serves as a nucleus for engagement to unravel complex questions and to devise workable and pragmatic strategies which at the core are centered around the empowerment of our people. Achieving the desired mission objective that is embodied in our theme requires member states to begin to put in place discretionary policy actions that more than ever before bring into focus our people in the pursuit of prosperity for all. This new focus must be placed squarely at the center of our efforts to increase our levels of performance through enhanced productivity, which is a measurable magnitude, and work effort. This means each worker producing at optimal performance levels, each being efficient and each being the best at that he or she can be. Performance-based incentives and rewards have become the driving force in influencing productivity and work effort across organizations, both in the private and public sectors. These enhanced efficiencies are critically important to achieving the desired performance goals that are required for fulfilling the overriding strategic vision of prosperity that has been established by this body. Recognizing and rewarding outstanding performance of individuals or groups who play a lead role in achieving pre-established numerical goals and mission objectives can serve as a powerful incentive that fosters the creation of new ideas, new innovations, and superior work effort. By doing more with less, it is these gains in productivity and efficiency that will reduce each nation's overall cost of producing goods and services, and by so doing, increase the value, the real value of prosperity for each of our member states. St. Kitts and Nevis has identified a number of growth areas necessary to secure our economic sustainability. Permit me to highlight a few bold steps that we have taken to enhance efficiencies in the production and consumption of energy. Both St. Kitts and Nevis have invested heavily in the development and planned commercialization of geothermal energy, with significant achievements in geothermal, wind, solar, and waste energy technologies. Our partnership with the Organization of American States established a springboard that has given a boost to these new technologies. With the support of our energy partners and the United States of America, it is anticipated that Nevis will be a global model of sustainable green energy development by the end of 2018. The resultant cost savings from geothermal are estimated to be between 40 and 50% of our total energy costs, significantly reducing our high energy import bill and reliance on fossil fuels, which is a major contributor, of course, to inflation. Mr. President, my country seeks to reduce its carbon footprint to nearly zero and to ultimately generate fully 100% of its electricity from renewables, making energy affordable and accessible to all of our people while generating employment, business opportunities, and economic advancement, a necessary step to breaking the cycle of poverty and exclusion. Moreover, these efforts will insulate our economy from the exogenous and unpredictable shocks caused by fluctuating oil prices, allowing households to keep more of what they earn. The gravity of climate change to our hemisphere must be prominent in our dialogue. However, it is not just climate change and adaptation and mitigation that are critical, but also disaster response, recovery, and availability of insurance, as many acts of nature have the capacity to undermine our economic growth, threaten our food security, and our vital tourism industry, resulting in hardships for all of our people. I therefore underscore the financial burden on our national budgets to build resilience. Access to global funding mechanisms such as the Green Climate Fund is critical to St. Kitts and Nevis as a small island developing state. Our CARICOM region, and in particular St. Kitts and Nevis, is indeed at the crossroads. Our friendships and tied with a few of our larger OAS neighbors have far too often not been reciprocated in kind. We are subjected to on several fronts to punitive actions which frustrate our aspirations, placing obstacles in our path to progress and prosperity. We are obliged to adhere to a plethora of very damaging oversight regulatory rules imposed against our will by others and which we have had no input in designing. But perhaps the most troubling of all is the recent practice in which a number of commercial banks in our region have terminated their overseas correspondent banking services, or raised the fees to unconscionably high levels. This has two very harmful effects. One, first, business establishments now find it extremely difficult to receive payment for shipments of their products abroad. Secondly, the little man on the street may be forced to turn to an underground black market to tap the services of unscrupulous transfer agents who may or may not deliver the funds as agreed to a relative. St. Kitts and Nevis has taken several deliberate steps at considerable expense to ensure that we are compliant to the rules imposed upon us by the OECD Global Forum. Although we have been deemed compliant, yet we remain on the pejorative blacklist of a number of the same OECD member states which designed the rules. Permit me to express my country's solidarity with the people of Venezuela and our concerns about the troubling situation that exists. Venezuela has been an exceptional friend to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and has been critical to our development. It is our desire to see a legal and democratic solution for the people of Venezuela. We continue to call for dialogue, respect for the rule of law, and of the tenets of democracy, and for a peaceful resolution. Our dear friend Venezuela and her people can count on the full support of St. Kitts and Nevis. We are a single family in this, our Americas, and we must act in unison and with alacrity to fashion peaceful solutions to the differences and conflicts which can and will sometimes arise. As hemispheric neighbors, we must share a joint focus on the pursuit of prosperity for all. Our family of 34 nations represent tenacity, an oasis of possibilities for cementing development partnerships and for collaboration and for the sharing of best practices and experiences. Along the way, we must take care in the tone and context of our communication among ourselves. Respect begets respect, and we must ensure always that our OAS is allowed to play its pivotal role as facilitator mediator, and peacemaker. I thank you very much, Mr. President.
Okay.